What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have an MDPV trip report for you, or more commonly known as bath salts. The title of this trip report is Pretty Versatile Chemical, and was submitted to Irwid in 2010 by the user rvan0015. With all that being said, let our story begin. This is a report of my first experience with this chemical, and I am writing this report 3 days later. My boyfriend had ordered 500 milligrams of MDPV back in July. He had accepted that he'd been mega scammed some weeks ago. Yesterday, to our humbling delight, we found that it had finally arrived. The packaging of the order was peculiar, and I feel that a detailed description is warranted. It was neatly enclosed in a plastic baggie, inside a slightly larger plastic baggie, which was wrapped in toilet paper, then wrapped into like 4 sheets of paper. It had then been stuffed in an envelope, and that envelope was also wrapped in toilet paper and what is assumed to be double-sided tape. Another several folded pieces of paper securing the contents of the item. And finally, the item subject of this report was too diligently situated into a too legit USPS priority envelope. We finally got to the core of that mass of tape and paper, and lo and behold, the 500 milligram order was actually 2,000 milligrams. Worth the wait? Dare I say, nay. At around 6:30 p.m., we had a buffet dinner. So be mindful that all the effects I'm going to begin reporting are on a full stomach. At approximately 7:30 p.m., we weighed out a couple of 10 milligram bumps for snorting purposes. And it hit me instantly. Sort of reminiscent of how you would feel when you're just starting to feel the effects of a good, not generic 30 milligrams instant release Adderall. My boyfriend said he felt about the same way. He said he was feeling pretty euphoric, but he lumps pretty much all sensations into euphoria. The taste/drip was not too bad, but had a very prominent chemical taste. I felt very stimulated, probably 5 to 7 minutes after insufflating the first dose. At approximately 7:45 p.m., I joined my neighbors outside for a smoke and found myself to be extremely chatty and cigarettes to be extremely delicious. I was feeling really energetic, but I didn't really want to go anywhere. All I felt like doing was chatting. My neighbors were doing opiates and drinking beer, so we had a little bit of a different dynamic, but it worked. We smoked about 3 bowls of chronic between 4 people. The effect of the chronic was about what I had expected, similar to a weed/coke mix. We sat around for a while chatting and watching a variety of videos online. At about 10 o'clock, my boyfriend and I came home. I decided that I wanted to redose. My boyfriend tried to convince me not to, but he failed, and I did a little less than the first 10 milligram dose, by insufflation again. All I wanted to do was watch videos and read about anything and everything on Wikipedia. Searched places on the map in different countries that had Street View. Like with any stimulant, the desire to redose was strong, but I had to work at 8 that morning. At about midnight, I took 3 Tylenol PM, one 15 milligram mirtazapine, smoked much more weed and had a beer. At about 4 a.m., 6 hours after the second dose, and 4 hours after that midnight cocktail that I had relied on to put me to sleep, I resolved to stay up until work. I had lost all feelings of stimulation and just felt a general high feeling. I sniffed another small amount before work, didn't even bother to weigh it out. It got me going pretty well, and definitely got me through the morning okay. I left for work, a law office as it turns out, and fortunately I didn't have much to do, because at the time I was getting a little delirious. It took me so long to finish a task, because I would forget what I was doing so quickly. When I went home for lunch, I took a little more, for good measure. I felt good for a couple hours after that, but it didn't last me through the rest of the workday. My phone/communication skills were non-existent. I had a twitch in my face, and it was obvious that I was having trouble comprehending things. I got home and was experiencing one of the strangest crashes ever. The sleep deprivation was unreal. I started having auditory and visual hallucinations at around 6:30 p.m., 23 hours after we first dosed. I didn't sleep well that night, despite how terribly wary I was mentally and physically. Despite the horrible run-in with insomnia, the terrors of sleep deprivation, and the uncontrollable twitching, the overall expectation that I had for the drug were well met. I would definitely suggest against taking this in the evening if you have obligations the next day that require a certain level of professionalism and clarity. Nonetheless, I would say it's almost as enjoyable as meth or coke, minus the tedious drug dealing process. Unlike coke and meth, I would suggest redosing no more than once every 3 hours. It's a pretty versatile chemical, especially if you have shit to do. We'll definitely be keeping this drug around. Alright, everybody. That is the end of our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share with us your experiences with bath salts in the comments below. Check out the other playlists on my channel, and I will see you in the next one, fam. Deuces.